Welcome to the Senior Techie Podcast. Imagine being able to spot the very first subtle whispers of Alzheimer's disease years before you ever forget a name or misplace a familiar object.
Right, which is just incredible to think about.
Yeah, and imagine doing it in your pajamas over your morning coffee. We focus so much on using devices to, stream movies or video chat with the grandkids.
Hmm.
But there is this entirely different frontier of technology that is rapidly transforming how we manage our own longevity and our brain health.
It really represents a massive shift in medicine. I mean,
Yeah.
we're moving away from the era where you had to wait for a physical symptom to appear.
Right, waiting until something is actually wrong.
Exactly. The days where you schedule a doctor's appointment months in advance and then you just sit in a clinical waiting room just to get a baseline reading on your health.
Which nobody enjoys doing.
No, not at all.
Well, our mission for this conversation is to explore a specific free online program, which is called the APT Webstudy. And to you, the listener, whether you're a senior, a caregiver, or a family member, our goal here is to demystify this tool so you can proactively monitor your cognitive health.
Because it's so important.
It is. And we want you to be able to do this without feeling intimidated by the technology itself. Okay, let's unpack this because memory is such a sensitive, often anxiety-inducing topic for so many of us.
Oh, absolutely. It is
Yeah.
entirely normal to carry some anxiety around this. You, as the listener, have almost certainly experienced those sudden, just frustrating moments.
Oh, I know I have.
Right. You put down your keys and they seem to just vanish. Or you walk into the kitchen and completely lose the thread of why you even went in there.
Yeah, the classic, why did I come in this room moment.
Exactly. And the immediate silent panic is always, is this just normal aging and a busy mind? Or is this the first sign of something serious?
That's the real fear.
It is. That quiet worry can become a really heavy psychological burden to carry around every single day. And the fundamental value of the tool we are discussing is that it provides you with actual objective data to replace that lingering worry.
I love that. Replacing subjective worry with objective data is incredibly powerful.
It really is.
But before we get into the actual medical science and the researchers behind it and, how a memory study even works over the internet, we need to lay down a comfortable foundation first.
A very smart approach.
Because health technology always comes with this dense layer of jargon. And if we don't define those terms up front, they just act like a locked door, keeping people out of resources they could really benefit from.
Yeah, the technology should always be a bridge to better health, not a barrier keeping you from it.
Completely agree. Let's translate some of the technical vocabulary you will encounter into concepts that just make functional sense.
Sound good.
First up is the term web browser. You hear this thrown around constantly, like people say, just open your browser.
Right, which sounds simple if you know what it means.
Exactly. But a browser isn't just a generic app on your device. Think of it more like the windshield of your car.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, it's the glass you look through to actually see the internet. The internet is essentially just sending your computer thousands of lines of complex code.
Which nobody can read.
Right. Your web browser takes all that raw, confusing code and instantly translates it into the text you can read, the images you can see, and the buttons you can click.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you use Safari on your iPad, Chrome on your Android phone, or Edge on your Windows computer, those are just different brands of windshield. They all just let you see the internet clearly.
That makes perfect sense. And once you look through that windshield and get to the APT Webstudy website, you are going to encounter the term portal or sign up portal.
Which sounds very intense.
It does. The word itself sounds a bit like science fiction, like maybe a doorway into another dimension or something.
Yeah, it definitely sounds intimidating.
But in the context of medical technology, a portal is simply a secure, private waiting room.
Okay.
Think about a physical doctor's office. You don't just wander off this street directly into the back examination room where people's private files are sitting open.
No, definitely not.
Right. You enter a waiting room, you walk up to the receptionist at the front desk, and they verify who you are before you are allowed into the secure clinical area.
Ah, okay.
A digital portal does the exact same thing. It's a highly fortified entry point. It uses encryption, which just means scrambling your data so nobody else can read it, to ensure that when you check in, your privacy is completely protected before you enter the main study.
Okay, that structural security makes a lot of sense.
It's vital.
And while you are at that digital front desk, the portal, you're going to be asked to sign an electronic consent form.
Which can make some people nervous.
Yeah, people sometimes worry that a digital agreement isn't as valid as a physical one. But an electronic consent form is basically just like signing a physical clipboard waiver with a pen at a clinic.
Except you aren't using a pen.
Right, exactly. You're just clicking a button with your mouse or tapping with your finger to say, I agree. And that creates a secure, time-stamped digital record. It holds the exact same legal and ethical weight as paper.
It's a strict federal requirement for any human research.
Right, and it's honestly far more secure than a piece of paper just sitting around on a receptionist's desk somewhere.
Oh, without a doubt. And finally, once you have passed through that portal and given your consent, you get a personal dashboard.
Now, that sounds a bit like a car analogy again.
It is. The best way to understand a digital dashboard is to think about the instrument panel on your car, just behind the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Your car's engine is incredibly complex, right? It's generating thousands of data points every second. But you don't need to see all that raw engineering data to just drive to the store.
No, I just need to know how fast I'm going.
Exactly. You just need your dashboard to show your speed and your fuel level at a glance. So a digital dashboard does the same thing. It takes your personal memory test scores and puts them in one easy-to-read spot with simple charts.
So it's just translators, secure waiting rooms, binding digital clipboard waivers, and data instrument panels.
That's all it is.
That takes the mystery completely out of the software. So now that the digital environment feels familiar and safe, let's look at the actual program.
Let's do it.
Because if you are going to trust a website with your health data, you absolutely must know who is on the other side of the screen receiving it.
Well, the credentials here are really substantial. The APT Webstudy is for people who are 50 and older,
Okay.
and it is funded directly by the National Institutes of Health, the NIH.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the actual operations and the data analysis are run by top-tier researchers at institutions like USC, Brigham and Women's Hospital, and the Cleveland Clinic.
That is some serious backing.
It is. It's part of a much larger initiative called TRC-PAD, and the goal there is to essentially get ahead of Alzheimer's before any symptoms show up.
Okay, I have to jump in here. Usually when I hear medical study, I picture needle pokes, loud MRI machines, and waiting rooms with bad magazines. You're telling me this is completely different.
What's fascinating here is the sheer accessibility of this. Over 59,000 people are enrolled.
Wait, 59,000?
Yes. It's not some tiny niche experiment. It's tens of thousands of your peers contributing to science right from their kitchen tables.
That is incredible.
And it requires absolutely nothing fancy, just a computer or a smartphone and an internet connection.
Okay, knowing that 59,000 peers are doing this naturally leads to the obvious question, what exactly are they doing on their screens? Like, what are the steps?
Right, the actual experience.
Let me walk through this because it's highly practical. First is signing up. You go through the portal, you consent, and you enter some basic info.
Right, standard stuff like your age and family history.
Exactly. Then you take something called the CFI, which is short for the Cognitive Function Index.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a short 5-minute questionnaire that you take once every 3 months. And from what I understand, it basically just asks how your memory feels to you.
Yeah, because the subjective feeling of your memory slipping, feeling like you have to work much harder just to remember things, that is often the very first indicator.
Even before a test would show it.
Right, sometimes years before.
Wow. Okay, so after that questionnaire comes the actual testing, which is called the BRAND-CH test.
This is the core part of the study.
And this isn't some grueling exam. It's a game-like memory test.
Yeah, you might be matching specific patterns or trying to remember the order of a sequence of images.
And you do this for 15 minutes a day for 5 consecutive days.
Which is a very deliberate choice by the researchers.
Right, because if someone takes it on a Tuesday and they just happen to sleep terribly the night before, their score would be artificially low.
Exactly. Averaging it over 5 days gives a true, accurate baseline.
So after your 5 days are up, comes the follow-up. You can go view your personal dashboard to see your scores charted over time.
And you don't even have to remember to log back in.
Right. They send you a quarterly email reminder, just a little nudge, when it's time to test again. And here's where it gets really interesting. There are no complicated apps to download for any of this.
Not at all.
There are no plugins to install, no updates to manage, and no need to call a tech support line. You literally just use your browser.
The friction is virtually zero, which is why they can retain tens of thousands of users.
So let's talk about the motivation here. Since a 5-day memory test takes some commitment, even just at 15 minutes a day, why should the listener bother doing it?
It's all about the dual benefits. First, there's the reassurance factor.
Mm-hmm.
If your scores don't change over time, if that chart stays flat, You get quiet, objective reassurance every few months.
Which is huge for peace of mind.
It really is. But on the other hand, if your scores do shift, the researchers can spot this early pattern.
But we should clarify, this is not a diagnosis.
Oh, absolutely not. A web browser cannot diagnose you. But it might result in an invitation to a local clinic for optional closer looks.
Like what kind of looks?
Things like blood testing for Alzheimer's prevention research. It gives you options early on.
That makes a lot of sense.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this entire program empowers you. It replaces the anxiety of guessing in the dark with the confidence of tracking real data over time.
Taking ownership of your health.
Precisely.
But of course, whenever we talk about actionable health data on the internet, the immediate next concern for a smart user is safety.
As it should be.
Right. So how safe is this?
You can feel very secure here. This site is required by federal law to protect your health info.
We're talking IPA laws, right?
Yes, the exact same privacy laws that protect your files at your doctor's office. Your data is confidential, and it's anonymous on the research end.
So the researchers at USC just see numbers, not your name.
Right. And importantly, you never hand over a social security number. You never give them bank information.
Because it's completely free.
Exactly. So, to get started, you just head to aptwebstudy.org. That's aptwebstudy.org.
Perfect.
And you just want to set aside about 30 minutes for that first visit so you can cover the questionnaire and the initial testing without rushing.
30 minutes is a pretty small investment. But I do want to add some extra security steps here, just as a general best practice.
Always a good idea.
We always recommend brushing up on your online safety. You can go to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, which is ic3.gov, just to learn how to spot scam lookalike sites in general.
Because scammers are always trying to mimic legitimate portals.
Exactly. And if you are using an iPad or an iPhone, check out Apple's support pages to make sure your device's security settings are locked down.
It's like locking your front door before you sit down to take the test.
So what does this all mean? It means that being cautious doesn't mean being left behind. It just means using verified, legitimate tools safely.
Which is the smartest way to navigate the internet.
Exactly. That is a core philosophy of the senior techie.
And, seeing how this study uses technology leads to a really provocative thought about where we are heading.
Oh, where do you think we're heading?
Well, think about it. If researchers can currently track our cognitive health through purposeful online memory games, how long will it be until our everyday devices can detect early cognitive shifts just by analyzing how our typing speed or our swiping habits change over time?
Wow. That is something to think about. Passive tracking.
Exactly. The future of medicine might just be built into the way you hold your phone.
Fascinating. Well, this podcast was brought to you by The Senior Techie. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. If you'd like to receive their free newsletters, you can subscribe at subscribe.theseniortechie.com.